Last week, we traveled by car together with family for the Thanksgiving holiday and converged with thousands of other travelers who also took to the road. We traveled over 900 miles in one direction, which we estimated would take 9 to 10 hours. I was not the driver, and knowing this would be a long trip, I nestled in my seat, reading, praying, and falling asleep for the first few hours. However, I must admit, the last 3 hours were grueling. I kept looking at the mileage and the hours we had yet to travel, making the distance even farther away as I kept saying to myself, how much longer? In Psalms chapter 13, verse 1, the psalmist David may have somewhat felt the same way when he stated, how long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? I think we can all sympathize with David in times of trial. David grew weary and believed that somehow God had forgotten him, for he longed to see the Lord answer and deliver him out of all his troubles. It's difficult to endure when the trouble set before us seems insurmountable and we cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. We read in James chapter 5 verse 7, therefore be patient, brethren, until the coming of the Lord. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, waiting patiently for it until it receives the early and latter rains. We can state much of the patience of farmers who plant their seeds every year and who, in hope, wait for harvest time to reap the benefits. We too are to wait patiently, being assured that God will answer us if we do not lose heart and give up prematurely. God has a perfect time for fulfilling what He has promised. However, we may ask ourselves, why must I endure these trials for so long? Perhaps the reason God causes us to wait is that we may develop the qualities of patience. Without difficulties and suffering, we would never learn patience. We develop patience when our faith is being tested, which is a necessary part of our spiritual growth in the Lord. James also tells us in another place, James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4, that when we fall into various trials, we should rejoice, knowing that the testing of our faith produces patience. James encourages us to allow patience to have its full effect, for it is necessary for the maturing and development of our faith. God does not allow the trials to crush us. As stated in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7, we are hard pressed, that means squeezed in on every side, but not crushed. Please keep in mind we are being molded, conformed into the image of Christ. God loves us too much to keep us in the same spiritual condition we are in today. Therefore, allow God to do His work of perfecting you, making you more like Jesus. Resist the desire to fight against what He desires to accomplish in you. It is natural to want to run towards the exit door. However, in choosing to run as fast as you could in the other direction, hoping to escape, knowing that you will miss out on all the good God has in store for you. Remember Job, that after he endured, God gave him a double portion of all that he lost. For us, it may not be material blessings, but because God's love for us is so intense that in our suffering, He will turn it all around for our good according to His plan for our lives. From me, I'm learning to wait on the Lord's timing, and it has helped me to recognize that God is in control and not me. How humbling the process when everything inside me longs to take the reins and do things my way. But it is worth the wait when I see the Lord's outcome as I choose to trust Him instead. In the learning process, I am becoming more assured that faithful is He who promised, who also will do it. The psalmist David ended Psalm 13 with praise, for he chose to trust God and His mercy to deliver him as He had done so many times before. Let me encourage you to remember God's faithfulness and power, that just as He has done before, He is still able to do so again. He has not forgotten you, for He has engraved you in the palm of His hand. It is a picture of His nail-scarred hand on the cross. So while you endure difficult trials, it will become easier as you learn to go before His throne of grace with confidence, laying all your anxieties and fears at His feet. It is there that you will find mercy and grace to help you in your time of need.